Jeremiah Smith was one of the earliest settlers in the Shenandoah Valley, having settled there in the mid-1730s. As early as 1743, he was made captain of the Virginia militia by the Virginia Assembly. The cabin that Jeremiah would build served as a trading outpost to other settlers moving into the area, as well as Native American Indians who did business in the valley. However, during the 1750s, there were growing hostilities leading up to the French and Indian War, as both the Indians and the colonists became pawns in the war between France and Great Britain. By 1755, Jeremiah constructed defensive measures around his cabin, which became known as Fort Smith. He assembled a force of some 20 men in the spring of 1756 to counter some 50 Indians led by a French captain, sent to the area to make trouble for the English. George Washington made reference in his official paperwork of Fort Smith in 1756, and is said to have visited the fort twice. Captain Smith would go on to serve with distinction, having fought bloody battles at the forts of the Capon, as well as killing the French captain sent to kill him. Jeremiah would live out his days on his farm, serving as a guide for early surveyors. He helped build the wagon road from Winchester to Capon Bridge, the original portion still passing his house today, and watched the land around him develop into a town. Pulitzer Prize-winning novelist Wila Cather, who was born in Gore, cites the Smith house and its stately tree in the front yard as the setting for her final novel, Sapphira and the Slave Girl. In today's episode, we scratch the surface of this farm, dispel some myths, explore its buildings, his final resting place, and do a brief detection in the yard. Unfortunately, the setting sun cuts our day short. Stay tuned. Well, we make history come alive through storytelling and metal detecting. And today we are at the historic Jeremiah Smith house. This is also the site of a French and Indian fort, Fort Smith. This end of the house down here, it's actually all log. And this log portion of the house is reported to be the old Fort Smith. And Jeremiah Smith is reported to have built this cabin in the 1730s. A number of historical accounts state that this house right here may in fact be the very first house built in Frederick County, Virginia, which in and of itself is a very early county in Virginia. Jeremiah Smith was a captain before the French and Indian War. In fact, the Virginia Assembly commissioned him as a captain in the 1740s, around 1742, 1743. During the French and Indian War, this served as an outpost fort. George Washington wrote of it. George Washington knew Jeremiah Smith. In fact, he had been here before. And it was built strategically here upon this knoll. Being able to look up and down the valley here to see if Indians are making the approach. This is looking south in the valley, and this is looking north of the valley. And right up the valley here is where Jeremiah Smith and his family lay and rest. The old wagon road is right down here. I don't know if you can see it. I'll try to zoom in there. We'll go down there and take a look at it. It goes right along this. And he made sure that the old road came right by his house. Right here below us, we'll go down there. This is where the Seabert mill, grist mill, stood, right here where the tractor and the dump truck and everything stood. This mill was built in the 1770s, and it served the community that was growing here. This is an exclusive permission. I hope you guys will join me Hope you guys are excited to see what we may find here. Everything I find, I'm going to offer to the landowner. I'm going to give it to him, and I hope we find a lot of great things. I don't know if this has been metal detected before. They don't know either. So let's see if we can't find something for them and uncover some old history. I am actually going to start here, and you know, one of the things is the landowner has been curious about this building here. The thought is maybe this was a slave quarters house, and I've looked at it. I'm an architect, so I looked at it architecturally. I pointed out some things about the house that I don't believe it is a slave quarters house, because the nails in it are all round. I couldn't find any old square nails. There's stairs going up to the top, and there's windows in it. And so we're trying to figure out what this building would be used for. What did they use this? Why? You know, was it a summer house? Was it a worker's house? At some point in time, they converted it into a chicken coop, and I'll show you guys the photos of that. But it wasn't built originally to be a chicken coop. I told him I think it might have been a tack house. I've seen these before on other sites. I've videotaped one of these before. And so what I'm going to do in the time I got right now is I'm going to detect around the house, around this building here, you know, and I might detect around this area here. And this may be a lead in to the video that we do for this historical house built in the 1730s right here. All right. Let's see what we can find. All right, I'm going to use my MindLab Equinox. I'm going to put it in all metal mode because I want to hear the iron in the sight here. I'm going to go to my settings, and I'm going to scroll up to my swing ratio. I'm going to leave that at 3. I'm going to hold this in. Right now it's at 5, and that 5 discriminates out most of the iron. So I'm going to drop this down. I'm going to drop it down to 0 because I want to hear all the iron. Okay, so now we're in all metal mode to where we can hear all the iron in the ground. And I am not going to put my headset on because the landowner is actually here with me. I'm going to show them and you guys whatever I find out of this ground, whether it's iron or anything else or junk. We're going to film it all. I got a good signal here, and I'm showing them how this machine works. Low tones, high tones, and I got a high tone here. Okay, so it's shallow. It's 4 inches, and I told him, I said at that number 2024, it could either be a coin or I think it's going to be aluminum. So they're going to hold the camera, and they're going to let you guys see what I pull out of the hole right there. Okay, so pinpoint it right there. Okay, so what I try to do is I try to leave a little bit of the grass connected. So I'll flip the plug over. Okay, it's real rocky in here. Flip the plug over. Okay, now let's see if it's either in that or if it's still in there. Okay, so it's probably not going to be an old object because it's not deep.
Gotcha.
So let's pinpoint right there. Let's see what we got. Okay, now, did I call it?
You call it. You got it.
All right, that's what it is. Now, coins will give you the same reading. So if you don't dig those, you won't find coins.
You'll miss it.
So you got to dig everything. So put the plug back.
Perfect.
What we do is we tap it down.
Thank you.
Now, does that look good?
Looks good. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, you guys. I can't film everything because I'm here with, let me get the sunlight out of your eyes, because I'm here with the landowner, and I'm digging different tones to let them see what metals are what. And this tone here is a 1315. Is that what it is? I'll show it to you. I popped it out. I'll let you guys see it. 13. I told the landowner that this is probably either going to be trash or a nickel. And I started digging down through here, and I haven't popped it, but it's circular. You see it now? See it? Okay, I think it's going to be a nickel. So why don't don't pull up to your face, because we don't want to show you to the audience. Go ahead and pull it out. Let's see what it is.
You're right, it's a nickel.
It's a nickel. Is it a Buffalo nickel? Or is it a Jefferson nickel?
It's a Jefferson.
It is a Jefferson nickel. Let's see if we can see a date on there.
Down here at the bottom.
Yep, there it is. Let's see it. See it there?
I can't read it.
1981. Of course, my eyes are so bad too. I don't have my reading glasses on. You know, it's either 1969, 89. That's our first coin. All right, it's something. All right, you guys, I popped a plug. It wasn't that deep, and I pulled this out of it, and I thought it could be a bullet, but I don't think it is. Is it a finial? I think it's a finial. I think it could be a finial. Or could it be a piece from a game? Let me clean that up. I'll take a brush to it. Yeah, it definitely is not a bullet. What I want to do is I'm going to take a photograph of that. I'm going to put it on ID Me and see if someone can ID what that is. All right. All right, you guys, it's going to be a short video. I mean, it's just here with the landowner. We're having a blast. We're just walking around the yard. We're here at the old house, and both of us have dreams and visions of what there's in the ground, huh? Yeah. And we really just haven't found much, except a lot of junk. I did find a finial, Civil War finial, so that's promising. But I have a good signal here. I popped it out. I told the landowner it's going to be silver. It's a silver dime. Now, I don't know if it's going to be a Barber dime, Mercury dime, or just a Jefferson dime. Let's take a look. It's right here on the edge. And I'm going to let the landowner go. Why don't you go ahead and pull that out of the ground there. Okay. It's a Mercury dime. Yeah, it's a Merc. That's awesome. That is awesome. Wow. Let's see what the date is.
Read it.
I tell you what I'm going to do. All right, you guys, I want to take a photograph. I want to zoom in, and then I should be able to get. Hold on, you guys. I'll come right back to you. All right, you guys. 1945. So we're looking at World War II. That is a World War II dime, Merc dime. And I say, well, I think we ought to end on that note. Don't you? Let's end on that note.
Today.
For today. You want me to come back out?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right.
We're not done.
All right. So next time I come out, I told the landowner I'm going to bring my big coil, because I think the artifacts are going to be deeper here than what the small coil can get down to. But okay, so just give you guys, this is just a beautiful, this is a log house too, you said, right? Yeah. This is a log house over here. This is a log house, and we know from absolute certainty that this thing was Jonathan Smith's, Captain Jeremiah Smith's house. 1736 is the date of this thing. So, and Wila Cather, you see this tree, right? Wila Cather, and she wrote the premise of her story, which was Sapphira and the Slave, was right here. And she is a Pulitzer Prize author, and she is from here, right? She's from here, and yep, her birthplace is literally right across the road here. And so, a lot of history here. Do we come back?
We're gonna find it.
I think so.
We're gonna find it.
All right, you guys, gonna do a wrap up here. We're gonna come back. I was only out here for maybe an hour, if that. The landowner, the missus, went to get her husband to see what we found, and she was with me the entire time. And we started there at the old house right there. Don't know what that is. I still want to know your thoughts. Whatever you guys think that is, you let me know, because, well, the landowner wants to know, and so do I. Okay, so here is what we found in about an hour's time. And you guys have not seen everything, but it was fun. So we found the trigger of an old cap gun. We found a jet here. We found a 1951 wheat cent. We found a Civil War finial. Look at that. It's a finial. And then we found a 1945 Merc dime, 1999 penny, or 1999 nickel, 1965 penny. We found a gear from an old clock, some china, a plug, and some junk. That's what we found. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We had fun. Hopefully we can come back with a big coil and see if we can find something historical.
I hope so, because it's costing me some money.
All right, let's take care. All right, you guys, this is the Seabert family cemetery, and it's still been taken care of, as you can see, but it's, you know, the walls and everything's in a poor state of affairs. There aren't any tombstones visible, and the irony here for me is actually I was taught or led to believe that this was an old slave cemetery, and there could be slaves buried here. I don't know. I went down to the archives here in the county, and some of the archivists that I spoke with when I told them what research I was doing had told me that this was a slave cemetery. However, this is why it's important to document history. The landowner, who is I believe this is the third generation landowner to this farm, says no, that is incorrect. The Seabert here, the Seaberts that are buried here, had a mill, and we're going to go to the mill. I'm going to show you the mill. The mill's on the site that we're going to be detecting. Whether we detect that today, I don't know. Depends on how successful we are and what we're looking for and what we find, whether we hit that site or not. But the mill was built in 1777, and it's still down here. The site is still down here. The mill race is still there. The building was torn down in 1972, and I'll show you that. But the farmer told me that this actually is a family cemetery, and the family is actually buried here, and it is not a slave cemetery. So that's good to know, because I believe I may have documented in the past, maybe on a past video. I don't know. I don't believe I have, because I've been down here before, but definitely in the archives and that I came across, it was stated that this was a slave cemetery. So I'm glad we're able to take a look at it and see it, and it's old. And it is dressed stone. You can see the dressed stone right there. It's all dressed stone. So they took time to build this. And it's a hefty wall right there. That's about 2 foot. This is about 30 feet by 30, I'd say about 30 feet by 30 feet around that neighborhood. And you can see where a lot of the stone wall has fallen off around the sides. It's actually been mounded up here because there's so much stone around it. And you can see how much stone has collapsed on the inside. So I can imagine these walls must have been pretty tall. All right, let's go down to the farm. Let's see where this mill stood. 1777. All right, you guys, welcome back. I am at the site where the old Seabert mill was. And this used to be an old grist mill, and it sat right here where these vehicles are right now. Actually, this is a footprint. I was told by the landowner there used to be a big hole here where the stone foundation went around, and they filled that in.
I'll stop my wandering, maybe in the spring, for the April rain. There, as the seasons turn, time to settle down, live my life again. The deed is done. Time to raise my son. Time to heal the pain. Past is now history, still inside of me. So